comfortably. All right, Rob, I mentioned it, game 5, pivotal game. We've talked about it. What winner of this game usually wins the series about 80% of the time, a little more than that. Golden State certainly in control. They were in control heading into the game because they had home court advantage. Now they're one game away from winning their 4th championship in this in their 6 appearances in the finals in this 8-year stretch, if you will. Been a great run for them if they can close this thing out. That's for darn sure. But yesterday, the final score was Warriors 104, Celtics 94. And Steph Curry struggled. Didn't have a great game. Scored 16 points. It's interesting. I remember I threw out 16 points when we were talking about,
if he had a bad night,
he could be the finals MVP. He was 7 for 22, 16 points. Did have 8 assists.
0 for 9 from 3.
And just 1 turnover, 0 for 9 from 3. But the star was Andrew Wiggins. And Rob, I said it from the get-go. When they got Wiggins in that trade, I loved it. I thought he'd be fantastic there. I compared it to Andre Iguodala going there. A guy that's got great talent. Wasn't meant to be the number 1 guy, but as the number 3, 4 guy in Golden State, he'll be perfect, and he has been. 26 points, 13 rebounds yesterday, Rob. And now there are those, it's been thrown out there by a few people, that he could end up being the finals MVP if Golden State wins instead of Steph. Your thoughts?
I think that's legit. I don't think that's a stretch, especially in the big game 5, which you talked about being so pivotal, Chris, and Steph being basically nowhere to be found in that game. And I think people start to look at it and they dig in a little bit more. As you said, he had a great game. In the fourth quarter alone, Chris, 10 points, 5 for 6 shooting, 5 rebounds, and was a plus 15. And then when you start to unpack the rest of his series, he's got more points per game than Clay, leads both teams in rebounds, leads both teams in shots contested, second in blocks, primary defender holding Jason Tatum down to 37.5 shooting. Like, those are all the things you start to look at. If he has another big game in 6 or 7 to close it out, he could wind up, and I'm glad you brought up Iguodala, because he could wind up doing the Iguodala to Steph again. Like, I believe the door was open. I'm not saying he's the MVP, because we'll see on that closing game.
Now, I mean, obviously they're up 3-2. Let's say it was over. Who would you say was the MVP?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think you would probably pick Steph if it was over now, based on that. But because it's not over, and because it's going to take another game, I think that game is really important. If Steph has a subpar game and Wiggins is big, and I don't know, Chris makes some big shots in the fourth quarter, makes some stops or whatever it is, and helps them win, I think it's going to sway some people to say, yeah, Steph was great the first 4 games or 3 of the 4 games, but when you start to unpack it, how he wasn't that good in the fourth quarters, except for one game, right? Game 3, was it, or 4?
Game 4. His big game.
Right, game 4, I'm sorry. Other than that,
he didn't play the fourth quarter game.
Right, and 1 and 3, he won good. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you start to unpack it and start to think about the whole series, I think the door is open for Wiggins to win it. Now, I don't think anybody else. I think it would be Wiggins or Steph, and Wiggins would have to have a great game, closeout game, and Steph would have to have a subpar game.
Well, Steph, as you said, if it ended right now, or let's just say the leader right now is Steph Curry. You mentioned Wiggins' numbers. Steph's averaging 30 points a game. A very respectable 5.5 rebounds. It's only 2 fewer than Wiggins. 5.8, about 6 rebounds, 3 fewer than Wiggins. 4.5 assists, 46% from the floor, 42% from 3. So he's having a very good series. There's no doubt about it. He had a bad game last night as far as the numbers. I think he just missed shots. I think his floor game was actually good. 8 assists, a couple really nice dimes, only 1 turnover, which is big. Not turning the ball over was big for the Warriors, and the attention he drew, even as he was off, was big because it opened things up for his teammates, and they did step up. Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Gary Payton II. They all stepped up and scored. And Wiggins, just as Steph was 0 for 9 from 3, Wiggins was 0 for 6. And remember, Wiggins had only scored 11 points in game 2, shot 4 for 12. So it's not like he's been consistently great every game himself.
Yeah, but
5 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds in the first 3 games.
Right, but the last 2 games, 41 points and 29 points. And as you get closer,
Steph had 43 in 1 game.
I get it, but to close it out, if Steph doesn't play well, is what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to look at it if Steph falls off or he has another bad shooting night. I just think that voters, it's what have you done for me lately? And they take a look at that. And I think what has opened the door for Wiggins is Steph have scored points, but not in clutch moments. And I think that I'm not saying no clutch moments.
I was going to say,
I didn't say none.
He was there.
But there are, there's evidence, Exhibit A, where he didn't in some other games. I just think that the door's open now.
Wiggins didn't score in clutch moments either in those games, Steph did.
Yeah, but I think in this game here, this pivotal game, we're 5 for 6 in the fourth quarter. People look at that and say, where would they have been without that? If they didn't get that from Wiggins, they might be in a hole going to Boston down if Boston didn't turn the ball over.
But that doesn't nullify game 4.
I'm not nullifying it. I'm just saying the door is open.
The arguments you could make for Wiggins, the door is open because we got potentially 2 games left. And so if Steph is bad in the next 2 games and Wiggins is phenomenal, then he's got a chance.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I do think this, Rob. I think there's a very real possibility that, and I don't know what media members are voting. It's not a lot. There's like 11. It's not like a big vote. I think there's a possibility that a lot of media members feel like 2 things. One, he should have won it in 2015. Not all, but some feel that way.
I think that's bad thinking. Let
me share what I'm gonna say. That he should have won it in 2015, and I think many feel like the fact that he doesn't have a Finals MVP has been unfairly held over his head, and so I could see it, Rob. If it's close, and you feel like it could go either way, I could see him getting it almost as a lifetime achievement award from some media members. I mean, the Finals MVP, there are several years where you look at it and go, that's a head scratcher. Iguodala's obviously a controversial one. Magic Johnson getting it his rookie year. He was great in that 1 game. He had a solid series too, but Kareem was phenomenal. Averaged like 33 and 13 in that series, and played 5 of the 6 games. So there are several other times when James Worthy got it in I believe it was 87, or maybe it was 88. But there are several years where, people have felt like the wrong guy got it. Wes Unseld got it, averaging 9 and 12 one year, and Elvin Hayes averaged 22 and 12 or 20 and 12 that same year. He didn't get it. So I could see that happening too. But the fact is right now, Steph I would think is the clear front runner, should be the clear front runner. But yeah, if he has 2 more bad games and Wiggins has 2 tremendous games, the door could be open.